Terry at BMS here. I'll be walking you through the JB4 install on our new Ram 1500 Hurricane motor. Before we start, we're going to connect the JB4 mobile adapter. Using the included Allen wrench, you'll loosen all these 4 screws. Closure comes off. We have our control board. Adapter plugs in and is secured with 2 screws. Now this is very tricky. The board goes in like this, so that it's perfectly aligned. When you put the enclosure on, it should sit flush like this. If you don't center it properly, like this for example, you think it's okay, will not sit flush, and if you tighten the bolts down, you'll crush the board. So let's make sure we get it in there properly. We're good to go. To start, you'll want to open the hood and lock the doors. If you've opted for the optional JB4 mobile adapter connector seen here, you'll want to also attach that to JB4 before we start. In terms of tools, you don't need much. A little flathead screwdriver like this will do the job, and a little flashlight, or you can use your phone as a flashlight. The JB4 can be placed right down here by our intake system. If you've got an aftermarket intake, you can also zip tie this or secure it if you need, but with the stock intake, it sits in here pretty well. The JB4 mobile adapter, you'll see loose down here, can just be tucked out of the way. There are 3 connections total in the engine bay. Pre-throttle map with yellow wires, manifold map with brown wires, then air intake map that has brown, green, and red, an assortment of wires. We'll start with the map, pre-throttle, which is down there. It's a 4-wire position. It's got that green tab on it. It's better if the truck is cool to do this, otherwise you may wind up burning yourself. But what we're going to do is reach in there, push that clip back, and then using the small screwdriver, we will be able to pull out the connection. Now we're going to feed our JB4 connector down there. JB4 connector plugs into the center, and then the OEM plugs right into the JB4 harness. You can tuck that next to it. Piece cake. Next to the manifold sensor, and just like the other one, you have a clip here that will pull back on. And then you can sometimes push down on it and extract it. I was able to do it like that. If the car's older and it gets stuck, a good trick is to use the screwdriver on the back clip here. You can use that to lift the clip up and then slide the connector off if it's an older car. The final engine bay connection is the MAF. It's right here. There's a clip below it. So just like before, you can use your screwdriver to release that clip and then push the tab in and it'll pop right off. That plugs into the JB4 and then the clip down goes on here. So the last step, it looks intimidating, but it's actually quite easy. It's the OBD cable for advanced engine tuning, air-fuel ratio, ignition timing, engine speed, all that stuff. That plugs right in here, and it feeds through the engine bay through an existing grommet up here. You'll just move it out of your way with your fingers. Again, it's a little tricky to get it on camera. You can sort of see I've pulled it away there. You'll tuck it through, and then you tuck these back in, and they'll lock back in place. You can see where the line pops through right here. We'll just reach down, grab it, and extend it up. We're going to extend this over to the JB4 system. You'll extend it across here. This plugs right into the JB4 harness, and it can only go in one way, locked in place. Now for this wire, you want to route it up here along the cowl. We just don't want it sitting down on the engine. This is optional, but if you want, you can use a zip tie. I ran it around these 2 coolant lines here. You don't need it too tight. It can go right through the hole in the enclosure. And you can also tuck all the extra JB4 length wiring underneath here. Gives you a nice clean setup and make sure the JB4 isn't going to go anywhere. Once we're done with the install, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's see if it actually starts. Looks good to me here. Now, if you did have a check engine light or any other issue, you'd want to jump over to our troubleshooting guide for how to diagnose that. We'll have that linked at the bottom of this video. For those with a JB4 mobile adapter, the next step is to connect the app. Launch it and just press connect there. And we see all the engine data appearing. That tells us our CAN bus connection is good. We'll also link the JB4 mobile directions down below for those of you who are interested in learning how to use that more. That concludes the video.